What's going on? Welcome to another episode of Overtime presented by TECK Foul. This week, we are taking a look back at the 2007 NBA draft, going through the top 10 picks, what could have been, what should have been, and then doing our own redraft of how it should have went. So make sure y'all stay tuned. It's going to be a fun one. Tim?
It's it's your boy TIMKINZ, the number 3, aka Ass Ketchum, aka Mr. Give It To Me. Hello.
I'm the Air J.
Only known as.
The Air J.
And I'm Camille, point guard of the crew, the real life Tifa Lockhart, the girl next door. You know, holding it down for all the women who love sports.
And it's your boy K Harris, the gentleman,
The gentleman,
the everyday gentleman,
24/7.
but better known as K Diddy.
Take that. All right. Now we are excited to do this. Let me get some background music for us. Hold on. Let me get some music going for us and everything. So first thing we're gonna do is just take y'all back in a time, way back in the time. The 06-07 season. Talk about how that ended before we get into the draft itself. So as you might remember, that 06 season, we had a new game ball. You know, everybody was not happy about that. That did not last long. The Hornets were splitting their schedule between New Orleans and Oklahoma City due to Hurricane Katrina still. This was their second straight year doing that. The Nuggets and the Knicks had a big old brawl where Carmelo Anthony, I forget who he cocked in the face, but he hit somebody. He got 15 game suspension for that.
Marty Collins, I think.
Yeah, he hit somebody. It was like echoed through the arena.
And then he backpedaled like the entire length of the court.
Yeah. Ivo got traded to the Nuggets. Kobe had 4 consecutive 50-point games during that time, changed his number from 8 to 24. It was a wild season. The Golden State Warriors were the first 8 seed to defeat the number 1 seed in the best of 7 series. Like, it was wild. And then when you got to the NBA Finals, the San Antonio Spurs swept the Cavaliers. Tony Parker was the Finals MVP. Regular season MVP was Dirk Nowitzki. Rookie of the Year was Brandon Roy. That boy was cold. Points per game leader, no surprise, Kobe Bryant. Rebound per game leader, Kevin Garnett. And then the assist leader was Steve Nash. Now, here comes the 2007 draft. We're going to go through the top 10 picks, discuss some career highlights, and give our opinions on those guys. So, Eric, I'm going to pass the mic to you.
Yeah, so 2007 draft, the lead up to it was notable because like Oden and Durant were considered like can't miss. Like Oden was probably, I shouldn't even say probably, he was easily the highest touted prospect since LeBron. Like obviously at this point, it only been like 4 years, but it was still notable because he was supposed to be like the next in the lineage of great centers in the NBA. Durant had obviously won College Player of the Year, the first freshman I believe to do so, and he was who he is now, which is like a scoring savant, like then 6'9", with unlimited range, could score off the dribble, from off the catch, everything. So actually, like, it was a lot of tanking that happened at the end of that 06-07 season. The Grizzlies, Boston Celtics, and Bucks actually finished with the three worst records in the league that year.
And the Bucks picked 6.
Yep. Actually, so this was the first time since I believe 1993 that none of the teams with the 3 worst records picked in the top 3. So I like to say the NBA like secretly penalized these teams for tanking because like it didn't work out for any of them. And there was a real clear like delineation after 3. Like, you know, the top 2 were the top 2, and then I think Horford had already separated himself from the rest of the draft. So like falling outside of the top 3 was actually pretty bad. Or bad outcome considering like how much pain those teams went through in the regular season. So I've already kind of named off, you know, some of the top prospects, but going into the top 10 that actually were drafted. Number 1, Portland Trailblazers won the draft lottery. As Camille mentioned, they had the reigning rookie of the year, and then they added to that with center Greg Oden from Ohio State. It's really unfortunate. Like Greg Oden wound up being one of the biggest busts in NBA history through no real fault of his own. Like he just couldn't stay healthy. He actually had microfracture surgery on his knee in September of 2007 and wound up missing his entire what should have been his rookie season. He did recover to make his NBA debut on opening night 2008. But after 4 injury-riddled seasons in the Pacific Northwest, he was waived from the Trailblazers, not getting the second contract. He did try to come back with the Miami Heat in 2013, and he actually did play through the entire season and stayed with them through the playoffs, but he wasn't anything noteworthy, never wound up playing in the NBA again. So another draft bust at the top of the league, at the top of the draft for the Portland Trailblazers.
And it's like you said, it wasn't even his own fault. Like his body just kept giving up on him. And there might be some people who would be like, how in the world could you not pick Kevin Durant number 1? But if you remember at the time, Kevin Durant has always been slender. And coming into the draft, he couldn't do no.
He couldn't bench press. I think it was.
He couldn't bench press.
125, 225, something
it's
like
supposed
that.
to be 225.
225.
Yeah, they thought that maybe he was going to just be a weak shooting guard, like he couldn't do nothing. So they looked at Greg Oden, was like, this man has an NBA ready body. Like he wasn't one of those centers who was just big. Like he had some moves and grooves around the basket.
Dominant defensively, even in college. Like. And that's the thing, like, you know, like how could you not take Kevin Durant number 1? Like that's how good Greg Oden was. Like that's it's not, you know, like they weren't projecting for like, oh well, if he adds this and this, like he'll be great. Like it's no, like he was already came into the league with the skill set requisite. It's just, you know, obviously needed some fine tuning. But he did show some signs at Ohio State about like his durability. Like I think he broke his wrist. That he wound up playing through, but he did have injuries to his wrist. They found out that like one of his legs was shorter than the other, which you know, in retrospect, it's like, hey, maybe that's a red flag. But you know, like Greg Oden was a great prospect.
I
Got anything else to add on Gio?
Outside of Oden being literally like can't miss, I was thinking the hype around him was kind of how the skill level and talent of Joel Embiid is what they expected of him, except for the 3-point. They didn't expect the 3-point shooting. Just the pure anything below the perimeter, like he was expected to be all world, bro. Like and I actually didn't mind that Ohio State team with him and Mike Conley. Like it wasn't bad at all. I hated him, but I didn't mind them. Like Greg Oden was nice. Like he really was, and it really is a shame how his career kind of got derailed in that aspect.
Yeah.
Before we move on more to Kevin Durant, do any of y'all fault Portland for taking Greg Oden?
I did at the time. I wanted Durant number 1.
You did. So
I
back
wanted
then
him to pick
you were
Durant number 1 because I mean I seen him at Texas too. It was
nice
when I was still watching college basketball heavy, and dude was just unbelievable. And I was like, well, Portland got Brandon Roy. Imagine him and Durant together because Brandon Roy was my favorite player.
And they had LaMarcus Aldridge.
And they had, I'm like, bro, all they need is a wing, bro. How would you get a center? You don't need a center.
Because they were still, like NBA was still, like,
that's what I'm saying.
Center,
I think that if they knew where the league was going, like, yes, like Kevin Durant, like even with them, you know, not knowing how their careers turned out, like I think just seeing like the player types at the time, like if people would have known what the league was going to become and like how important 3-point shooting was and how devalued like back to the basket centers would become, like yeah, Durant would have been number one, but like thinking about the league in 2007, like
Mhm.
it made sense. Like even if you knew like, man, Durant gonna be nice, but
Mhm.
you know, Shaq is David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, like that's what you're thinking with Greg Oden if you're drafting in 2007.
And truth be told, I wasn't even expecting like this of Durant. It was just more so. I'm like, dude, he could score like crazy. Like he's 6'9", bro. Like they'll have size. Like Roy ain't got to put because Brandon Roy really was putting the Portland places on his back, even as a rookie, dog. Like he had some moments where he was like cooking. Then year two,
Yeah.
oh my god, phenomenal. So like if he just had Durant, like, he just need another. Kind of how I felt about Andrew Wiggins and Jabari Parker when we had our draft for the Bucks. I wanted Wiggins. We got
Yuck.
Parker. Hey, I was thinking about more so the fast break. I was thinking about our fast break.
Nah, it's cool. I mean, hey,
Yeah,
we'll talk about that draft another day.
Yeah,
Sure, we'll get to that draft. Yeah, so number 2 pick, the Seattle Supersonics. For our younger listeners, that was a team that used to exist, playing in Seattle, Washington. No, so Seattle Supersonics selected forward Kevin Durant from the University of Texas. I don't think I have to run through the litany of awards and accolades that Kevin Durant has, has amassed in his NBA career.
Right.
But just to give you a higher level, look, he's a 2-time NBA champion, 2-time Finals MVP, most valuable player of the league, 12-time All-Star, 2-time All-Star Game MVP, 9-time All-NBA, Rookie of the Year, 4-time scoring champ. He hit 50-40-90 once, and he's a member of the NBA's 75th anniversary team. So
one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah. I was gonna say, needless to say, Seattle, who will go on to become the Oklahoma City Thunder, definitely hit on that pick.
Yeah, they did.
We talked a lot about like what Kevin Durant was before coming into the league in comparison to Greg Oden, but just to kind of underscore that a little bit more, Kevin Durant was, like I mentioned, National Player of the Year as a freshman. Like he led freshmen. I mean, he led freshmen in scoring, but like he led a Texas team that had PJ. No, did they have PJ Tucker still?
Yes, I thought. Tucker was in 2006.
I think Tucker left the year before, but
yeah, he got drafted the year
DJ
before.
Augustine. Like they had talent on that team, and he was just like put him on his back. I don't know what Rick Barnes does to get these kids to come in, but then never mind. I'm not even going to slander Rick Barnes.
Yeah, you can go that way.
But he can recruit his ass off. Let's put it that way. Yeah, Kevin Durant was just like, again, like Camille mentioned, there were concerns about his slender build and like if he would be able to, ironically, if his body would be able to hold up to an NBA schedule. The Supersonics did end up playing him at 2 guard as a rookie.
Hey, that's what they thought he was about to be.
They put
A
the 2
tall
guard
2
on the
guard.
bench. They turned the 2 guard. They had a 2 guard on the bench in Harden. Not this year though, but
But
then they turned the other 2 guard into a point guard, and then they put the 3, who was clearly a 3 at 6'9", at the 2. Like they just
they had him playing at shooting guard just because of his
His build.
wasn't big enough to guard.
He couldn't
threes
hard.
coming
Yeah,
into
he
the
could.
league.
You remember, you are who you could guard, and at that time, he was gonna be guarding some 2s.
Yeah, a lot of 2s at that time was around like 6'6", 6'8", between 6'6" to 6'8".
I mean, they varied.
So thinking about the team that Seattle had at the time, like I don't have their roster up in front of me,
I
but
do.
like okay, I would say like they would go on to lose Rashard Lewis. They still had Ray Allen briefly. Like I'm still not sure how that team wound up losing so many games that year prior, but basically they wound up cleaning house and building forward with the youth movement.
Yeah, and I can see how that Durant team only won 20 games because this roster is leaves a lot to be desired. There are names on here I completely forgot about. Danielle Marshall.
Danielle. That must have been after his heat.
Robert Swift. Kurt Thomas was on this squad. Delonte West.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, before we go to Robert, Robert Swift, the 3 straight years the Sonics drafted in the lottery, like 7-foot centers that could not play. Like they had Mohamed Sanu. Yeah. Robert Swift, and Johan Petro, and none of them worked out. And they were all like basically the same guy, just in different colors, like over a 3-year span. It was just like, so them hitting on Durant like was big for, I think that was when they first hired Presti. So he really came in and changed that franchise for him.
I like Luke Renauer too, by the way.
Man, we ain't talking about him right now, man. Luke Renauer, Al Horford though.
Al Horford, though. So, yep, with the third pick, Atlanta Hawks selected Al Horford from the University of Florida. University of Florida was coming off back-to-back national championships. He was a member of their famed 2004 recruiting class with Joakim Noah, Corey Brewer, Torian Green. That was one of the greatest college basketball teams of all time. Like, it was nuts. And Al Horford was just like a do everything big man. Like, he could do what you wanted. Like, he could play 4, he could play a 5, he could step out, hit a jump shot, he could play down low, he could rebound, he could defend at the basket, he could switch, defend on the switch. Like, he's just like the epitome of whatever you need me to do, I got you. That's exactly what the Hawks got.
I used to like that Florida team too. That's one of the last college basketball games that I went to when they was going to the Sweet 16. So I went to the Elite 8 Sweet 16 games in St. Louis that year, I believe. Unless I'm a year ahead or a year behind. But anyways, I seen that Florida squad with the Joakim Noah and Torian Green because I really thought Torian Green was going to be something special. I really did. I mean, man, cold. But Al Horford was who he is today, honestly, in the NBA. Is like, he was just Mr. Like, he's a well-rounded Mr. I got your back. Don't worry about it. Like, he was honestly one of the big glue to that Florida team too, because his passing ability at the post was able to help him out a lot too, just in case you kind of get stuck and you need to move the ball around and stuff like that. He didn't get tunnel vision. So Horford was a really good pickup for them.
Yeah. So Al Horford went on to be a 5-time NBA All-Star. He made one All-NBA team. He made the defensive second team one time, and he also made the rookie team. He was a linchpin of those Atlanta Hawks teams of the late 2000s, early 2010s. Like, again, like he is who he is now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's like a Hall of Fame career, but it is like a very successful NBA career. He's made hundreds of millions of dollars. So, like, as far as I'm concerned, like, it's a success. Fourth pick, the Memphis Grizzlies selected guard Mike Conley of Ohio State. Mike Conley is a one-time NBA All-Star and a one-time All-Defensive Second Team member.
His resume feels so light for who he is. Like, I feel like it doesn't tell the whole story of Mike Conley.
He was hurt a lot.
He played in the West. Like, he played no, just with a lot of good guards that he had to compete with, and he
until he made the All-Star team last year, being 2021. Like, he was always who's the best player to never make an All-Star. Like, he's always on that list. Like, he was always just below, and it's because of how stacked the West was throughout his entire career. Like, if he was in the East, like, I'm sure he would have been like a 3 to 5 time All-Star, just because, like, that's how nice Mike Conley was. Is, I guess, still kind of.
Hey, he's still out here chugging along.
Yeah. He's starting to slow down a little bit, but he's still, above average starting point guard in the league. Yeah, I mean, like, he grew up playing with Oden. They both went to Ohio State. Again, like, he was in that. Like, if Oden was the prototypical center, then Mike Conley was like the prototypical point guard. So again, like, I can't fault Memphis for making that pick. Like, it started slowly for him. And actually, it's ironic they had picked Kyle Lowry, I believe, the year before, the year after. So, like, they had both of them at the same time, and Lowry kind of outplayed him early on, but I think it's evened out over the course of their careers. Fifth pick, the Boston Celtics selected forward Jeff Green. They subsequently traded him to the Boston Celtics. No, they traded him to the Seattle Supersonics in a deal that included Ray Allen going to the Celtics.
That was a big trade.
Yeah, it was. That one surprised the hell out of me. I remember where I was at when they said, "Wait, what? For who?"
And the thing is, so, like, surrounding that trade, like, okay, let's get Jeff Green out of the way before we move on to the trade. Jeff Green, as you know, he's become like the ultimate NBA journeyman. Like, since 2015, he has not spent more than a single season on his team. But he's been a fairly high level role player for numbers of teams that have been successful in the NBA. Like I think, it probably wasn't as great as you thought his career was going to be coming out of college, but I think he had a successful, long NBA career that still isn't over. So, excuse me. Shout out to Jeff Green. That one snuck out. But yeah, to the trade, like as I mentioned before, like there was a lot of tanking. I think Boston was like the most unabashedly tankerific team that season. Like they shut down Paul Pierce like midway through the season, and they were just like play the young kids. Like they had like Sebastian Telfair, Devontae West, Al Jefferson, Kendrick Perkins. Like they had a lot of young pieces that they could, like we're looking for the future and trying to develop, but like they were tanking. Like it's okay.
Big tank.
But like there was a lot of talk at the time, like, okay, well, do we trade Paul Pierce and really go all in on the youth movement, or do we try to build around Pierce and build up a championship team? Like I don't think any team was as crushed to fall out of the top three as Boston, because like they were thinking like, oh, we'll get Durant or Oden, and then we trade Paul Pierce, and then we got like we're set for the next 10 years or whatever.
Wait,
but
Kim, what was you shaking your head for? What you shaking your head for, fam?
Hey man, fuck that team, bro. Hey man, that's where it all started, man. I will hate that team for the rest of my life. Just like the 04 Detroit Pistons.
So you could say the biggest loser of the NBA draft lottery was actually Ken, because in Boston. But obviously they fell out of top 5. I mean, fell to number 5. And then there was a lot of talk about like what should they do with that pick. I think there were conversations about Garnett that preceded the Ray Allen trade, and they thought that the number 5 pick would be used in that. And then Garnett was like, I don't really want to go to Boston. And so like then they moved on to Ray Allen. They were kind of disappointed because like, okay, well, I mean, Ray Allen's good, but like we thought we were getting KG, and then KG changed his mind later on. And
let me come too.
Yeah, I think getting Ray Allen was obviously a part of that, but
yeah.
We're gonna try to speed up. Well, after this next one, we'll try to speed up because we're running out of time a little bit. 6th pick, Milwaukee Bucks selected from China.
Hey, we can just go ahead and keep on skipping roll past him. Just go ahead and keep on rolling.
Wound up being a big ass bust. He was overhyped coming out of China. He spent a year in Milwaukee after much consternation about getting him to Milwaukee in the first place. Herb Cole ended up having to. Senator Herb Cole had to fly his ass to China to persuade the Chinese government that Milwaukee was in fact the best place for Yi, and that they really valued him, and that despite our low Asian American population, like it would actually be fine because like we'll play him, we'll guarantee him a starting spot over Charlie Villanueva, who, while not being great, was clearly better than Yi. And yeah, so after a year in which like he showed flashes, but it wasn't like flashes.
He worked out against a chair, fam.
He worked out against a chair.
What? You didn't hear that?
It was all smoke and mirrors.
Okay, Ken. So during the draft process, Yi didn't play against other collegiate talent. He worked out by himself, and then during his workout, there was a chair that he used to like mimic defenders and use.
Oh, that is hilarious.
Going through screens. So yeah, he worked out with a chair. And
how can that be used as what? A chair?
He was the next Yao. He was gonna be the next Yao.
He was supposed to be the next Yao.
That is hilarious.
He was an athletic forward version of Yao Ming.
He had good footwork. He could shoot a little bit, but a little bit because what he did overseas was that he dominated around the rim. When he got to the NBA, they was like, you ain't doing that here. Yeah, you ain't doing that here. But that game they did play against the Rockets with Yao Ming, it had over 200 million people in China tuned into that game, which is part of why the Bucks wanted Yi, because they knew as a small market team, having somebody with that international appeal could do wonders for the market. It did not do wonders. Okay, it was a terrible draft pick.
What you expect? This man was
maybe looking at the eyes
against a chair, bro. That is hilarious. Y'all could have threw anybody out there, bro.
And he didn't want to come here. So, and before they drafted him, they knew
Yeah, they
didn't
said
wanna
don't
come.
take him. Don't draft
And
him
they
when he
did it
ain't coming to
anyways.
Milwaukee.
They did it
went through
anyways.
everything. All of this sound like BS. And as they're going through this, I'm sure somebody was like, "Bro, is this man worth it?" 200 million people.
You see how he took that pick? He took that pick against the chair. Did you see that?
Roll right off that motherfucker. You ain't see that shit? No, bro.
And what's crazy is the Bucks didn't even see him work out against the chair because they were not invited. They did not get the invite to come. Nothing.
Yeah,
Bucks
you don't
scouts
get to
have
see
been
the
out
chair
there
workout.
4 years going overseas to watch him play, but they could not get in that chair workout, fam.
That's wild.
Not invited.
I need to see footage of this. I'm definitely for the
I'm sure it's not.
You'll be like
There
the
is
Bucks.
no. It's funny because there's no footage of the chair workout. There were people who were saying like, "Is this even real? Did it happen?" And then for a couple of years, there were all these different stories about was this real or was this a myth? And to come to find out, it was real. It was real. He worked out against the chair.
I was busting that chair ass.
You know what? I'm sure China has scrubbed the existence of that video off the internet completely.
And what's crazy about Yi is that although he wasn't successful in the NBA, like he's still hooping in the CBA, and he has been putting up numbers. Like he had a couple MVPs over there. Like I mean, but he's enjoying success now. I'll say Yi is.
I thought
he gonna listen like, oh, this slander I'm getting from Milwaukee.
Hey, do your thing, Yi. You ain't want to come here, and that's cool. Never mind. I was gonna be real mean, but I'm not. Hey, do your thing in the CBA.
Quickly to wrap up, they did wind up trading him after a season to New Jersey for Richard Jefferson, among others. And his career flamed out shortly thereafter.
But I think we got CBA.
But I think we got to throw it to break.
Throw it to break. Yeah, if you're listening on TGN, enjoy the ads. Otherwise, we'll be right back. And we are back. Welcome back. TECK Foul here. Tim, Eric, myself, Camille, and Ken. We have been discussing the 2007 NBA draft. We have gotten through the first 6 picks. We're going to talk about picks 7 through 10, talk about some notable players, and then maybe some could have been, should have beens with this draft. And then we'll end this episode redrafting the top 20, how it should have went in our opinion. So that being said, Eric, who went 7 after, Yi?
So the 7th pick, the Minnesota Timberwolves selected for Corey Brewer of the University of Florida. As I mentioned, he was part of the back-to-back national champions. It's kind of a 3-and-D that couldn't really shoot threes before 3-and-D was actually a thing. Like he was a slasher, but his calling card was, wing defense. He
had a 50-point game.
He did in one of the most unlikely 50-point games in NBA history.
Until Sadiq Bey.
I think this is more unlikely. Like at least Sadiq Bey can shoot. Like Corey Brewer, I don't know how he scored 50. But he did wind up having a 14-year NBA career. Started with Minnesota for a couple of years, then worked his way through the league, wrapping up with the Sacramento Kings in 2020, pre-bubble.
I didn't realize he played that long. Like, It doesn't feel like Corey Brewer played that long to me.
No, it doesn't.
I feel like yes. I feel like he was. Wasn't he on the Lakers for a second?
Yeah, for a year.
Yeah, he was decent.
But that was towards the end of his career too, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was decent though. He was decent with us too.
Yeah, I mean, like he became one of those guys that's just like a professional. Like you know what you're getting with him.
Reliable defender. Might get you 8 to 10.
50-pointer aside, like he don't get too high, he don't get too low. Like you know exactly what you can count on when you have Corey Brewer on your team. Like solid NBA vet. Like that's
pretty much.
Absolutely, for sure.
The same could not be said for the 8th pick in the draft, which was Brandon Wright from the University of North Carolina. He was actually drafted by the Charlotte Hornets and traded to the Golden State Warriors.
They were Bobcats back then.
That is correct.
What was funny, I watched the draft coverage from his pick, and Stephen A. Smith and all them was like, "Hey man, this is a good pick for Mike. Michael doing his thing with Charlotte, getting Brandon Wright doing
his thing."
And then when they saw that they traded him, they just completely flamed the whole trade. They're like, how dare they trade him for Jason Richardson? Why would they do such a thing? This is the stupidest move of all time. You don't need him. You need Brandon Wright. I was watching this thing like, dang, y'all felt that strongly about Brandon Wright. Like, y'all.
He was supposed to be nice. Brandon Wright was supposed to be like.
They thought he was going to be a steal. Yeah.
He reminds me of what's the old boy on the Mavs? He's a forward, light skinned cat. Dwight, no, not Powell. Kind of similar to him, like Brandon. I thought it was a Brandon Wright type. I thought his name was Brandon something too.
Brandon Wright did play for him, if that's what you're thinking about. Because that's why I said, like, you think about Brandon Wright because he played for him. The best seasons of his career were with the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay, it's the same Brandon Wright I'm thinking of then.
Issues with Brandon Wright were injuries. Like he could never stay healthy. Like he would show flashes when he played. But like he just didn't hold up. I don't know. He was a one and done for University of North Carolina, and like so people projected like all types of potential onto him, but like he never really put it together. Like he was a good defender, like shot blocker, but offensively, like it just never came around for him.
Just a rim runner, really.
Yep. The 9th pick.
Hey.
On to the Chicago Bulls, and they selected center Joakim Noah from the University of Florida. Noah was a 2-time NBA All-Star, a All-Defensive First Team selection in 2014, NBA Defensive Player of the Year in 2014, 2-time All-NBA defense. Oh, sorry, he was All-NBA First Team in 2014, Defensive Team in 13 and 14. And second team all defense in 2011. So yeah, Joakim Noah, like he kind of anchored the defense of those really good Derrick Rose Chicago Bulls teams.
Him all day.
Yeah, all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like we all know Joe, like wound up having a pretty decent career, although it got cut short with injuries once he moved to New York. But you know, heart and soul of those Chicago teams. Yeah, just like he's the heart and soul of those Florida teams in college.
Yeah, he was a good player. I hated playing against him. He was good.
And he hated the city of Milwaukee, so it was
he did. That's why, like, I hear his name and it makes me smile. Like, I respect Joakim Noah so much. Like, I just love those types of players who really, when they step on that court, it's all out. And he was a dog defensively to only be like, what, 6'9"?
Yeah,
I think he was 6'11". He was just kind of slight.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, he always looked a little smaller to me than what they listed him as, but he was a beast. And to get him at 9, that's smooth. I mean, you could have had Brandon Wright. So,
and everybody disappointed that Brandon Knight got picked one pick ahead. Like, damn, we almost had Brandon Wright.
Hey, I guess we got to go with Joakim Noah. Well, it worked out for you, Chicago. It worked out.
The 10th pick, Sacramento selected Spencer Hawes, a center from the University of Washington. He had a pretty nondescript NBA career, bounced around a little bit between the Kings and the Sixers, most notably, and then finished his career with the Bucks in 2017. Didn't do shit.
I should remember the 3-pointers. He did the the German 3 symbol.
Yeah. I also think he was one of the notable Republicans in the NBA throughout his tenure. So, anywho, so that was the top 10. Just to recap, we had Oden at 1, Durant 2, Horford 3, Conley 4, Jeff Green 5, Gian Leon 6, Corey Brewer 7, Brandon Wright 8, Joakim Noah 9, and Spencer Hawes at 10.
Some notable players drafted outside of the top 10. You had Thaddeus Young at 12 to Philly. You had Nick Young at 16 to Washington.
Nick Young,
Swaggy P, where it all began on those wild Washington teams. You had Jared Dudley at 22 going to the Charlotte Bobcats.
The GOAT.
You had hey,
they're kissing Jason Kidd's ass.
Shout out to Jared Dudley, the ultimate glue guy. He's a glue guy.
Everybody love him, man.
At 31, first pick of the second round, you had Milwaukee's own Carl Landry, who actually had a pretty decent NBA career.
Yeah, I was like mildly surprised. Like he did good at Purdue, but like I was mildly surprised like he got drafted that early. But Like 31, like all you can ask for is a really good role player, and that's what Carl Landry was for a number of years.
Facts. And then at 48, you had Marc Gasol. Man,
famously drafted by the Lakers, and then a couple years later traded for his brother. Before he had a chance to even come to the league.
We got a ship.
You got to.
Exactly. So it worked out.
And Marc Gasol, honestly, he's a top 3 player in this draft. Even though he was taken at 48, NBA champion, 3-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA team, defensive player of the year, and all defensive team in 2013 as well. So a steal in the second round. Yeah. Any others who are in this draft that y'all want to make a note to?
I enjoyed our brief stint with Ramon Sessions, bro. Like, I know everybody ain't gonna remember him up, but Bucks fans remember Ramon Sessions. Bucks fans remember we needed a point guard, and that man stepped up and was doing triple doubles and shit. I mean, we seen it. We thought he was we thought he's breaking assist records, man. I was like, Ramon Sessions is.
You got a mouse in your pocket?
Hey, listen, I wasn't the only fan. He definitely had a little fan club. Ramon Sessions, but he was with us. You know, I was like, okay, we might have something out of the second round pick, bro. Like, this man might be nice. I think Mo Williams was still here too, wasn't he? Yeah. So, and then I think he had got hurt or something like that. I'm like, I don't want Mo running the offense. And then Sessions showed up as the Rook. I was like, okay, Rook.
Ramon Sessions.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's who gets you excited. Hey, 56th pick in the draft. Ramon won bad. Like,
I mean, like for a 56th pick in the draft, like he had a better career outcome than you would expect from that pick.
That's a fact. Okay, y'all. When y'all look at this draft, is there anything that y'all think like should have happened that y'all wish could have happened? Because mine is probably the most simplest one, and that's that Greg Oden would have been healthy.
Yeah.
Like to think of what Portland could have been had he been healthy, had Brandon Roy been able to be healthy with LaMarcus Aldridge. Like, I think I saw they only played, I think it was 62 games together, that trio, and they were 50-12 during their time on the court together. Like, when they got the chance to play together, they did well. It's just that they couldn't get it together.
Yeah, I mean, that's the obvious one. I think for me, it's the Yee pick. Like, going through the list, like, Joakim Noah and Marc Gasol were obviously the best players picked after the Bucks pick, but nobody knew Marc Gasol was going to be Marc Gasol, and Joakim Noah also famously didn't want to play in Milwaukee. So, like, I don't know who they could have picked where it would have been a better outcome. Like, maybe it's Brandon Wright.
Corey Brewer would have been better.
He would have been better, but he wouldn't change like the fortunes of the franchise. Like, either way, like, I think they would have gotten next to nothing from that pick. But putting different people in different scenarios, like, it might have changed like their whole career outlook. Like, so I don't know. Like, even something like Thaddeus Young, like, if that would have been the pick at 6, like, that would have been a better again. Like, he wasn't in the conversation there, but like, I think that. Like, doing anything aside from, picking the player that most didn't want to be here probably would have been better off. Just for the perception. Because, like, think about it, like, the perception of the Bucks organization at that time wasn't the greatest, and
no, it was not.
Made it even worse. Like, somebody so loudly, like, I don't want to be here, trying to force his way out. And it really didn't get turned around. Like, this was even lower than later on, like before Giannis came, because like I feel like at least Brandon Jennings kind of like did a little bit to kind of get the excitement level up. Like, there was nothing, like, even with picking Bogut like 2 years prior, like, there was really nothing to get excited about Milwaukee Bucks basketball.
Yeah, it wasn't until Jennings got here that you really felt something shaking in the city. But Yee, I just remember when we drafted him, I was like, he don't even want to be here. Like, I was a kid, like, fam, he don't want to be here. Why are we doing this?
Upset. I was like, well, let's just make the best out of it. And then he got on the court.
His first like month, it was like, he okay, he all right.
Yeah, and then a little bit, he ain't as skinny as we thought. I mean, he's skinny, but he ain't as frail. Like, he ain't toss him like that. And then
So then none of y'all didn't have no Yee jerseys?
Fam, get out of here. Did you have a Yee jersey when he tried out for the Lakers, fam?
Hey man, of course not. I did not.
I don't think he even made it past preseason with y'all, but
no, he didn't. He did not.
I didn't think so. Yeah, that's quite a could have been, should have been. But when you look at who else was in this draft, like you mentioned, Eric, it's kind of like what else could they have done? Which makes me feel kind of depressed. Because man, the Bucks have come a long way, ladies and gentlemen. The Bucks have come a long way.
That's your world champion, Milwaukee Bucks.
That's right.
To underscore how far they've actually gone.
That's right. So before we do our own draft and wrap things up, I will say that this draft had 5 players who made all-star appearances, so 21 total appearances. We had 3 players who were all NBA, and they did that a total of 12 times. And when you think about
both those.
Right. And when you look at who might be a Hall of Famer, there are 0 currently, but we got 1 and a P when it comes to who might be a Hall of Famer. Kevin Durant and Marc Gasol. So you got that. You got that. All right, gentlemen, let's redraft the 2007 draft. The way it should have gone.
All right.
Tim, don't do nothing like pick Ramon Sessions.
Bro, go now.
Number 1 pick.
Ramon Sessions.
Go now. All right, you want to go number 1?
Yeah, we can do tech order.
That's fine.
And for those who are listening, if you listen to us do our Tech Top 5 drafts, we normally are drafting to like form a team of some sort. But with this, we're just going tech order, Tim, Eric, myself, and then Ken in a snake draft format, just trying to pick the best 20 on the board. So that's how we doing it this time around.
For sure.
So Tim, who is the number 1 draft pick?
We're going to do what we should have did in the first place and take Kevin Durant to Portland.
Yeah, so second pick, let me get Marc Gasol.
That's right. Let's see here. Hold on. Let me bring up my list here. Number 3, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to grab Al Horford.
Okay. At 4, I'm gonna go ahead and get Mike Conley. When I get my next 5, I'm gonna go no.
Did you say no one?
Yeah.
He said Noah,
Noah.
fam. Yo, kid, Noah. Tim thought you said no one.
I'm like, man, that's what we do.
Oh, no one.
All right. So after the top 5, in my opinion, in the 2007 draft, these 5 names I think are the 5 best players of this draft. After this, the tier it drops. So for me, the first person of that tier, I'm gonna probably go with Thad Young.
Yeah, makes sense.
Ugh.
I know it gets real average.
I was saying, like even Thad Young, I feel like he's in a tier of his own because after this it falls off. Jared Dudley.
Hey,
I'll go with Jeff Green, and then he wasn't terrible, and I think that he deserved a little. Oh my God, it dropped off so bad. But because I want to give Aaron the Flalosa love.
Hey, he should be. I say this.
Yeah.
He should be drafted in the top 20.
He definitely should be drafted.
Yeah, I feel like this is not a bad spot. Like you really can't go too wrong with him or like Wilson Chandler.
You might as well go ahead and get Aaron the Flalo, bro.
I think
Marco Bellinelli.
Again, Aaron Flalo fits right. I think I'm gonna go with Aaron. I'm gonna roll with Aaron.
Let me get a shit. Are we at Carl Landry already?
Low key.
Yeah, we are.
Low key. We have one in the draft. Man.
Actually, you know what? I always liked him. Like, I don't think he was ever as good as he should have been, but like I like the player type, and he was productive. Give me Wilson Chandler.
Damn, that's what I wanted, guys. Jesus, Weez.
You say
Jesus, Weez.
Get that man in the halo.
Hey,
jeez. Yeah, at this point, I think I am gonna get Marco Bellinelli at this point.
Yeah.
You know who's not getting picked? The guy who went after Marco Bellinelli in the draft. He's in jail for murder.
Jesus.
Wait, who went after Marco?
Javaris Crittenton.
Oh,
that Washington team was wild, bro.
That's why I said that wild Washington team that Swaggy P ended up on was something different.
Man, it's on me.
Yeah.
That's Swaggy P.
Hey, no.
Hey, you know what? Wait till I come back around, though.
Carl Landry. I'm gonna go ahead
Okay.
and get that popping, and then I'm gonna get Tim Boy Raymond Sessions.
You gonna get Ramon already?
Yeah, I'm gonna get Ramon, bro. Go ahead and get him up out of here.
Okay.
I ain't gonna hold y'all up. I think that Louis Scola was better than Ramon Session. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab Luis.
I'm gonna go with the solid NBA vet, Corey Brewer.
Oh, I thought you was gonna say Jeff Green.
Jeff Green
already got picked.
Oh, my fault. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna say, dang, we disrespect.
No, we'll grab Jared Dudley though.
He already been
He
drafted.
gone too. He already gone too, B. Yeah.
All right,
Because of that, yeah.
It's Slim Pickens.
Yeah, bro. Shit.
Nick
I was
Young
a fan-
on the
I was-
board,
I was a
Anthony
fan.
Tolliver, Spencer Hawes.
Yeah, I think I'm. Oh, good. I used to like Aaron Brooks. I damn it, want to say Rudy Fernandez type shit.
Tiago Splinter.
Maybe
Big
didn't pick
Baby?
Nick Young yet.
No, I'll take Nick Young. And then
No man heard me say Big Baby and just give a thumbs down.
no, bro, he can't even sit. He bro. Never mind. I ain't gonna get into his legal situation.
That was your last pick, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it?
I'm pretty sure.
Fuck you.
I only picked one. I only said Nick Young.
Oh,
I gotta bring it back
Yeah,
around.
you gotta bring it back around.
Damn. We'll go with
Oh, I know.
shit. Rodney Stuckey, bro.
God damn it, bro. I just wrote his name down too. I was like, oh,
Go with Rodney Stuckey.
God damn. I really don't know.
You know what? I'm gonna go with the undrafted guy from this draft, Joel Anthony.
Okay. Mr. Miami. I only remember him from Miami.
You know what's funny? Like I thought Joel Anthony, but I was definitely like picturing in my mind Dwayne Dedman. Same.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna actually grab Anthony Tolliver.
Okay.
God damn it. Don't tripping, bro.
Yeah, this last pick is gonna be rough pickings for you, buddy.
I'm gonna go with Spencer.
Spencer Hawes.
Yeah.
I guess we were a little disrespectful to Spencer Hawes. He probably is better
he
than,
is a little better than that. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Spencer.
than a few of these folks. So I'm gonna just really quick go through the top 20 that we had here. I'm sure there's probably some nitpicking after our top 5, but again, a lot of these players, they kind of are all in the same tier here. It just kind of depends on what your team needs, I would say. So our draft order would go Kevin Durant, Mark Gasol, Al Horford, Mike Conley, Joakim Noah, Thaddeus Young, Jared Dudley, Jeff Green, Aaron Afalo, Wilson Chandler. That's your top 10. Your next 10, Marco Bellinelli, Carl Landry, Ramon Session, Louis Scola, Corey Brewer, Nick Young, Rodney Stuckey, Joel Anthony, Anthony Tolliver, and Spencer Hawes. It's a lot of role players we just named, ladies and gentlemen.
Sounds about right.
Not that many stars.
Like honestly, now I'm thinking about it, I might have taken Greg Oden over a couple of these people just on
Like-
the off chance.
That
For
he
his
might
one
be
and a half season.
Right.
Man, listen, because once it got real rolly real quick going through these. Do y'all have any other closing thoughts just on the 07 draft itself? Like, did the draft, after you did your research on it for this show, did it check out to how you remembered it in real time? Like, was this draft as good or as bad or whatever you thought about it beforehand?
It was worse than I thought it was. And because I was a really big fan of AC Law, and when he kind of didn't pan out, I was like, I was like, maybe this draft wasn't, that hot. Now looking back on it, I'm like, it wasn't as good as I thought it was then. It's top heavy for sure.
I forgot about AC Law, to be completely honest with
He
you.
was cold at Texas Tech. Oh man,
Texas A&M.
Right, A&M. Yeah, AC Law was nice, bro. I used to be a fan. I thought he was gonna be. It was one of those point guards I latched on to. Like, okay, he gonna be nice, bro.
It
Nuts
just
up.
didn't work.
Like I think
go ahead.
Oh, you can go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, looking back at it, I can't remember what I really thought of it, but then like when I was like, oh, KD. Then I was like, oh, Marc Gasol was in the draft, so like I saw that at least we had like two of the, KD, one of the greatest to ever play the game, and then Marc Gasol is arguably a Hall of Famer. So I think that was dope just to see those two like come out the draft and to see too that it was so many role players, but then like going through to seeing like how many years they actually played in the league was actually really dope too. But then to see like Greg Oden how many years did Greg
4 or
Oden?
5, maybe?
4 or 5
4
years.
in Portland, and then he had the season with Miami. So
then it made me think about like Portland. It was like, dog, they like couldn't catch a break because Brandon Roy injuries, and then great like they have two of the worst. Like possibly like if people can go back and be like, yo, if two players I wish never got hurt, like Greg Oden and Brandon Roy are definitely top of the list.
facts.
It was wild. They technically only got him playing 3.
Okay.
Yeah, Greg Oden, like technically, because he missed his whole first rookie year.
He did miss his rookie year. Yeah.
He didn't play it. Yeah.
I think that this draft really shows you how much of a crapshoot it is. Like everybody's so excited, like, oh my god, like we're getting the top 5 pick. We're gonna get the guy that changes our franchise around and everything. It's like maybe, like, and honestly, like this top 5 wasn't all that bad. Like you have what 4 guys that are still active, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And this
Durant,
is what,
Horford,
15
Conley,
years?
and Green. Yeah.
Yep. And then one guy that didn't make it because of the injuries. Like there actually were really good players in this draft. It's just like the outcome, especially like once you get out of that top 5, it's just kind of like shit. Who the fuck knows? Like throw a dart at the board, and you're just as likely to draft an all-star. Like outside of the top 5, the best player from the draft was 48. So
Yeah.
you never know. But it's all about hope. And if you
It is. That's
hope.
what you selling. That's what you selling. Yeah. And kind of to wrap that up, I feel similar to Ken, where I was just kind of like, okay, like Kevin Durant draft. Okay, Greg Oden at the time he was considered a talent, and then just to see how everything panned out was like, oh well. After your first few, it's a lot of role players. But to be honest with you, getting a lot of role players in a draft ain't a bad thing, because a lot of drafts you can get a lot of nothing. So as of 2022, the only active remaining players in this draft that are still hooping, as we mentioned, 4 of them already: Kevin Durant, Al Horford, Mike Conley, Jeff Green, and Thaddeus Young. So shout out to the 2007 NBA draft class. We hope y'all enjoyed our look back through. And as a reminder, if you have not already, make sure that y'all listen to TECK Foul on Wednesdays as well. Join us live on our YouTube on Tuesdays when we record that. And we hope that y'all enjoyed this experience this week. If you want to follow me on social media, you can catch me.
Wait a minute.
On the Twitter and Instagram and these PSN 2K streets at Camille Monet, CAMILLEMONAE, because
your mom is fancy.
Thank you, sir.
And your Milwaukee Bucks burners, they blew a pick on Yi Jianyan on Twitter.
That's all you get.
That's right.
Everyday_gentleman on Instagram, K Harris 216 on Twitter and Snapchat.
And it's your boy, TIMKINZ, beat number 3, aka Ass Ketchum, aka Mr. Give It To Me. Peace.
Peace out, y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed. We'll catch y'all later.